So it's not just that beautiful green lawn that we measure our middle-class success from. It's also the staple crop upon which civilization depends. It is the majority of our calorie intake.
Once again, it all goes back to the Big Bang. Central to the story of all life is our competition for that energy created at the beginning of time. Just as oxygen gave us an edge, just as fire allowed us to consume more calories. Switching to farming is an energy revolution. A hunter-gatherer needs 10 square miles of territory to provide himself with enough sustenance, enough energy in the form of plants and meat to survive. A farmer can harvest the sun's energy so efficiently, he can fulfill his needs using only 1/10 of a square mile of land. In the warming after the last ice age, farming begins to take hold in 6 places around the globe. But by the fortunes of geography, no place in the ancient world has a better concentration of plants and animals that can be domesticated than the Middle East's Fertile Crescent.
In the Middle East, we have this remarkable convergence of species that seem to have been susceptible to domestication, both plants and animals. In terms of animals, we're talking about cattle, pigs, sheep, and goats. In terms of plants, 2 varieties of wheat, rye, barley, lentils, figs, all in this very small part of the world.
Unlike the Fertile Crescent and the rest of Afro-Eurasia, places like sub-Saharan Africa and the Americas have very few wild species that can be easily domesticated. It's a critical difference. People blessed with the right mix of plants and animals will become more powerful and get a massive head start on the road to the modern world. One animal that gives any human who can tame it an almost unbeatable edge is the horse. It's a little-known fact that although horses first evolved in the Americas, they died out there along with many other large mammals around 10,000 BC.
There were at least 3 species of Ice Age horses in North America, maybe more. Some as small as ponies, some as big as Clydesdales. And they had evolved in North America for 40 million years. They're part of the whole history, and then they're gone. They're gone.
These powerful potential allies disappear before they can be used by the first North Americans.
Fortunately, before that happened, large numbers of horses escaped back across the Bering Strait land bridge and spread out across the great grasslands, the steppe lands of Central Eurasia.
A narrow escape that had a profound effect on human history. Around 4000 BC, nomadic people in Central Asia learned to tame them for the first time. Domesticated horses will be harnessed across Eurasia, advancing everything from work to warfare. Perhaps no other animal has had a bigger influence on the course of human history. And the circle wouldn't be complete for another 5,000 years, when Christopher Columbus would bring horses with him on his second voyage to the Americas. His horses would be the first to set hooves in the Americas since the Great Die-Off over 10,000 years earlier. "6,000 years ago, domestication of animals and plants sets the stage for the next phase of human history. Like clouds of interstellar dust gathering in material to form stars, a type of gravity is at work as places like Sumeria, located in part of the Fertile Crescent known as Mesopotamia, draw in people, support large populations, and spin up into centers of power and innovation. By 3000 BC, some of these Sumerian settlements can truly be called our first cities. One of them, Uruk, has around 50,000 people living in less than 1 square mile. A population density that rivals modern-day New York City. Humans have become so efficient at deriving energy from domesticated food that this land area, which would have supported only a single hunter-gatherer, now can support thousands. But a change in diet also triggers a new dependence.
Once you move to agriculture, you are depending for 80–90% of your calories on perhaps one or two species. In the case of the Middle East, wheat and barley. In the case of wheat and barley, they both ripen at about the same time. Humans have to gather the seeds at the same time. So now we have our food for the year that has arrived in one hit. It's like getting your salary paid once a year. You need to record it, you need to plan, because if inevitably your crop fails, you have famine, and you're not going to have another go for another 12 months.
In these first cities, crops are king. To keep track of them, our ancestors developed the first writing. To protect them, the first armies. And to administer them, the beginnings of politics.
When you have hundreds or thousands of people who are living together, there's simply too many people to sort of run around and create a census. It creates a need for government. It creates a need for some form of social and political hierarchy.
Planting seeds has set man on a new path. Settlements have grown into cities. But to take the next epic step from city to civilization, we'll need the help of a very surprising creature.